I'm talking with Alekz Londos, an international photojournalist, humanitarian, environmentalist, and activist. In this episode, I'm talking with Alekz about his micro tiny home project that helps the homeless people in our communities and sets a positive example to also encourage our global transition towards minimalism and sustainability. What's the impact when you really give this to somebody?
The impact has been incredible. I'm very happy with every story and every situation and how it has helped people. The first one that I built, that I spent a lot of hours building, I set it in a downtown location. I was motivated to continue building it because the guy that I was moving into it was in a wheelchair. He was sleeping in the same spot outside in the winter, not even under a cover, for a couple months. And I saw him. So he moved into the structure. He stayed in it for 3 or 4 weeks, and then he got housing. And then I was able to get the next person into it. So I have just success story after success story of the people that have lived in this. Another incredible story. So there was this man that was involved in a major car crash. And I went into the homeless camp after I built the second one, and I was yelling, "Hello, is anyone in any of these tents that is a single person that is disabled, injured, by themselves, or has a weakened immune system, or anyone that would like to move into a micro tiny home?" All of these 4 or 5 people brought forth one person and said, "Please bring Chris needs a place." Chris was involved in a major car crash.
What?
He lost all of his teeth. He broke his ankles, fractured his spine and his ribs and everything. So super injured person. He was like walking with a stretcher. He just got out of Stanford a few weeks before that. He was in ICU for 2 weeks, in the hospital for a month. And there's no housing. And they kicked him out of this shelter because he showed up after 10 o'clock one night. And it was a horrible situation. So it was just starting to rain before a major storm, one of the biggest of the year, was coming through. And I got him into one of these structures right before that storm. And then he lived in it for about 2 months while his body healed, while everybody was trying to get him housing. Everybody, the county and government officials, and nobody got him housing. So he lived in one of these for 2 months until his body healed. And then he built his own camp, and he just moved out of one of them a few days ago. So there's just not enough resources here. There's not enough help. There's not enough housing. We need more help.
Yeah. I think one of the interesting things, as you were telling me those stories, they moved in and they used it for a period of time. But that period of time is actually shorter than I thought it would be. So when you're like, this guy lived there for a couple of weeks and found housing, this guy lived there for a couple of months and made his own camp. When you've got someone who is all the way down at the bottom and they're hurt or they're disabled or they're, completely I know a lot of them, I've done work in mental health. A lot of them have addiction issues or mental health crisis happening. And just that little bit of help is enough to get them to the next step. It's enough to, hey, having a reliable place to go and to keep your stuff locked up that you can move around, or even if you leave it in the same place, but a reliable shelter can help you get to the next level of self-care, of being independent. Like, do you see that happening often, where being able to provide this, or I know you do a lot of work in this field, like, is that little bit enough to where that caring, even just a smidge, is enough to give people some stability to be more independent?
I think even one night of getting a good night's rest makes all the difference. Because think, if you get a bad night's rest, if these people are sleeping outside, on the ground in the cold, having stuff stolen from them, being scared to sleep, being scared to close their eyes every night, the psychological impact of that, or having their stuff constantly stolen, or having there's a lot of moisture and humidity here because we're right next to the ocean. So just the outdoor environment, it's harsh.